And it just makes it clear, Jeremy, we're never going to know, or we're wrong and there's nothing to know. What do you do with
Right.
that?
Yeah, I mean, so we're not wrong. This has been an institutionalized secret. There's been a legacy architecture that has protected the UFO truth from the American public. We all have high hopes. Whenever there's a change of the guard, we all have high hopes, and that's good. I think we should have optimism in America. I think we should fight for, transparency and truth. That's the foundation of what we're about. I think in America. But we're in a situation where it's possible the institutionalized secrecy on this issue and others is so powerful that people just fall in line. I hope that's not the case, Chris. I hope, but I'm seeing signaling that it might be.
Yeah. So that's a good summary of where we're at. Corbell and Cuomo episode is, like I said, kind of like good stuff. There's sound bites like that all the way through here for the whole, 50 minutes. Both of them are pretty, unhappy basically with the state of affairs. We don't get a lot of time. It's really just there's a little bit here towards the 2/3 section where we got Corbell kind of complaining about Congress, crybabying. So there's only a little bit of that, a little tiny section. Otherwise, there's kind of a summary in here of all the current events kind of linked together. Cuomo is mostly kind of bitching about the drones. But he says a lot of other stuff too. Like he says, he's criticized for his criticism of the Iraq war and the Bush administration and the way that they lied about it then. The patterns of lying about stuff that was super obvious that people were talking about. So, why are they lying about it? Kumo or not Kumo, but Corbell, they both really say it in here. They just kind of say it out loud. Corbell's trying to figure out how we can make the biggest impact and bring the most people into this, topic, into the mainstream. Kumo kind of says they're kind of lying about everything. He doesn't like Trump. He doesn't like Elon Musk. They keep that to a pretty minimum. So that's definitely kind of the start. Starting everything with some light. Some Corbell-light. Some light Corbell, some Corbell-light on Chris Cuomo. Chris Cuomo was really fun to watch. I don't know who Corbell said, if he said it was just like his mom or somebody. That he said watches Cuomo and says, he tells it like it is. And that's kind of how I feel too. He just, I really meant it. The Chris Cuomo Project and News Nation, etc., is been such a perfect place for this guy to end up at, because he's a caricature, and they both are, and so there's mostly just the good kind of Corbell stuff in here. He's kind of for the most part, he's a regular dude, but he's a journalist. He's got responsibilities, he's got rights as a journalist. He doesn't think the government's going to do anything. Both these guys are pretty convinced that, what we're dealing with, the conspiracy, is more powerful than the government. even the most newly elected guy, Donald Trump and his people, immediately, it's 1 or 2 days into it, and they're just on the talking points of the conspiracy immediately. Even if the day before that, the week before that, definitely 2, 3, 4 months, 6 months ago, a year ago, doesn't matter. They were, talking about disclosure and stuff. And then their main way that they kind of do the criticism in here is they say that, like before inauguration, Trump, who's in the title, Jeremy Corbell, on Trump's broken promises on drones, UAPs, and UFOs. Trump was criticizing the Biden administration for, how they were responding, the info that they were giving on the drones, the New Jersey drones. And I've seen Corbell a bunch of times. I've seen other people say, the 17 days of sustained flyovers of restricted areas and high population areas. And they, so they get into it. Pretty good detail. So this is Corbell-light. Not a lot of crybaby. Maybe he's kind of like transitioned over from like new guard, like hopeful, even though he says in here, I'm still hopeful, to old guard, kind of like cynical. Yeah, I don't expect much. And he does say as much as that. He does say as much as that, in this episode where he says, well, really, as far as disclosure goes, we're going to have to basically do it ourselves because the government's not going to do it. So this is a good way to skirt around the edges of the Corbell clan and ufology and just get a little bit nibble. Some Corbell-light.